Okay, so here's our agenda of passages. I'm actually going to arrange this all in the New Testament, in the book of Luke and the book of Acts. And I'm going to talk about three individuals. I'm going to talk about the calling and commitment of Mary, the mother of Jesus. I'm going to talk about the calling and commitment of Jesus himself, and the calling of commitment of Simon Peter. In Mary's story, we'll talk about the angelic announcement to her, and a little bit about the dream of Joseph, which is in Matthew chapter 1. With Jesus, we'll talk about his inauguration into his earthly ministry, and then also a statement that he makes about his perception of his ministry in Luke 19. And then in terms of Peter's calling, we'll talk about not him in specific, just to stay within the book of Acts. We will talk about the calling for all of the disciples that, of the apostles, the ones closest to Jesus, in Acts chapter 1, and how, certainly Peter's included in that call to all of the disciples. When it comes to then the commitment side, we're going to talk about the commitment of Mary when it came time to. It's one thing to have this angel announcing your birth, but then it's another thing to kind of walk through what that meant as a young woman in first century Palestine. And then we'll talk about the commitment of Jesus in two statements that he makes in the period of his passion. One in the Garden of Gethsemane when he's praying, and then one on the cross. And then we'll talk about Simon Peter and demonstration of commitment that came as a result of some good that he and the Apostle John did. So that's our biblical agenda. Now I'm going to cut this lecture off here and use this just as the introduction to that, or to the talks that are coming, and then we'll start with the Mary calling and commitment in just a moment.